Hi, I'm Jennifer Dick, professional home economist with the Manitoba canola growers. Join me in the kitchen today where we are going to learn how to make shortbread using canola-based margarine 2 ways. We are going to start off with non-hydrogenated canola oil-based margarine. So be sure to read your labels and you'll be able to find this at your local grocer. You want it to come to room temperature. We have 1 cup in our bowl here today, and we are going to add in our powdered or confectioner's sugar. I really like baking with canola oil-based margarine in my home kitchen. I find it to be an economical and affordable option. I feel good knowing that it's a local product. So see how that's all nicely kind of creamed together in here? This is exactly what you're looking for. Okay, so we're gonna set that aside for a moment. We're gonna head over to our all-purpose flour. To our flour, we are gonna add the key ingredient for making shortbread, and that's your cornstarch. Cornstarch is what gives the shortbread that texture that it's known for. Very important to make sure that you have whisked this well together. You want to incorporate both of those ingredients together so that they are dispersed evenly in the cookies. You need every cookie to be a delicious little bite. This is where you get to make the decision on, do you want to make orange zest and chocolate, or would you like to make white chocolate chip and lavender? Once you have it all come together, you're going to pack it into a disc and you're going to wrap it in plastic wrap. You're going to want to make sure that you refrigerate this dough for a minimum of 2 hours. You could actually make this the day before, refrigerate it overnight, and then you could do all your baking the next day. It's a great plan ahead dish. So here's our disc that we've removed from the fridge. This is the 1 full recipe of the dough. And you can see how it's like already ready to be rolled out. So I'm going to set it down on my parchment paper because I actually only want 1/3 of this. It's a fairly large batch of dough. So I'm gonna cut it out about 1/3, and then I'm gonna put 2/3 of it back on the plate and roll it out in batches. So we're gonna put this part aside. And we're gonna stick with 1/3 of the dough. Now today, you've got a couple options on what you might wanna do with this. This is such great texture. See how it's just staying together and allowing me to reform it? I would like to make this into a square. I'm aiming for a 6 by 6 inch square, so I can cut it into 1.5 by 1.5 inch squares. If you wanted, you could use cutters of any shape or style that is of interest to you, and you could cut them out. The dough does allow you to sort of form it back together and re-roll it to maximize all of your dough. So I have a little rolling pin here to help me with the rolling. Set this here. I like to keep using my hands to kind of press and form it out. I have it on parchment, so we're rolling the dough on the parchment today so that we can easily put it onto the tray afterwards. So a little trick that I learned from a culinary friend is that you really do need to measure these things out. If you want to have them bake exactly like the recipe says, you need the precise 6 by 6 and then the 1.5 by 1.5. And so she taught us this little trick where if you span your hand out and you learn the measurement between your index finger and your thumb, you know quickly if your dough is getting to the right size. I happen to know that my span is 6 inches, and so I'm aiming to have this square be square with my hand. And so that's why I keep playing with it this way. I would spin it and keep going. And the recipe has been tested that if you do get this right measurement and you've used 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3, you already know that you're gonna be at the right thickness. Okay, when you're happy with the shape of your dough and the size that you have, you're going to take either a bench scraper or you could take your favorite knife, and you're going to cut this into 1.5 inch squares. once you're happy with all of the placement, this is when I would take my baking sheet and I'm going to fill it up, slide everybody on, and you're ready for the oven. These cookies are going to bake in a preheated oven at 350 degrees for about 10 to 12 minutes. While your cookies are baking, you can measure out your white chocolate chips and grab yourself your canola oil bottle, because you are going to get ready for when they come out, have them cool, and this is where you get to elevate your cookies. We're going to dip them today in a little bit of white chocolate. White chocolate can be a little bit picky on how it wants to be melted. The nice part is that canola oil actually helps you gather a more successful product. So today we have the white chocolate chips in here. We've actually added about a teaspoon of canola oil. As it melts, it helps the chocolate come together, and then it creates this really nice sheen on the oil. So I get it to the consistency I like. I push it to one side of my pot, and then I like to grab a cookie. These ones here we have cut out into that beautiful flower shape. I dip it into the chocolate. I kind of like to go about halfway, and then my little trick is to kind of scrape it off on the edge of your pot, and then you're going to set it on parchment to dry. I have one more again. And there you have it. Delicious shortbread, 2 ways to share with your family and friends. Let us know if you try it. The recipe's below.
We appreciate you, whether you're new to this channel or a long-time viewer. If you'd like to join us in the kitchen regularly and meet farm families across Manitoba, please subscribe. We share new videos every Sunday.